son's special woodworking class for after school for him, with just him. His teacher's fantastic. And what I learned is that I don't know enough to ever teach anyone how to really work with wood, except I do know a few things about how to use a Triton workbench. But you're better off, and I will tell you how to fix it with the help of a friend of mine who is also a woodwork teacher, a retired one. He's actually a retired maths teacher, but he's brilliant at woodwork because he's part of a woodworking club. Ian's just letting us know how to fix the Triton workbench. I had it set up slightly wrong. So say it again, please, Ian.
Your controls are there, so that's the end you're going to stand. So you've got to have the saw blade so it comes down that way, which we have, although you can't see the blade there.
You can tell by the teeth they're curving.
Whoops.
They want to chew it up.
And so the splitter goes on this end.
Ian says he keeps this tied down on his so that it can't get in the way all the time. Also, when you're putting a Triton workbench in, there's this little spot here that a notch on the table.
Yes, little loop on the carriage and an eye for it to go in on the table, so when you push the wood into the saw won't move.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, so that is the loop that that there has to sit in, yes?
Has to go in, then it won't move either way.
We have two of those, so can it go either way?
Yeah, you can go either way.
Yep. And maybe we find that these here work better with that one particular way. So that's why you've changed the whole top around this time, because you turned that. We didn't need to turn that last time we had it.
Oh, you put it on that way, do you?
Yes, I think so. That's why you've just changed it around, and it.
Well, we can change it back if you like.
Well, we'll see if it works any better. But we had a reason for it, and I think it is the fence.
The fence runs better.
Yeah, fits in better. And our table underneath is marked. Before we do it, let's show them how we had to. Sorry, Ian. Let's show them how Tritons over time. What do? They sag or something.
The cradle here sagged in the middle.
Yep.
Which made the saw blade no longer at right angles to the top, and so we packed it up so it again was right angles to the top. Now some saws you've got an adjustment fine enough that you can do it by changing the angle of the blade on the saw. If you can't do that, we've chocked it up there with some strips of metal.
And the way we worked it out was really quite easy, wasn't it?
Yes.
I'll show you, hang on a sec. Okay. We put a steel rule across and worked out how we needed to adjust this to get, this point here in the middle was lower than the side over here.
Yeah,
and so it was tilted.
What we should have done is shone a torch under there.
Yeah, and we could see with the steel rule which one was lower and how much we had to adjust it by. So we just put some pieces of metal in on both of those two sides so that they were just as low as each other from then on. And when we actually got this all set up, when the tabletop back on, we put a set square against the blade, and it still looked wrong, didn't it?
It looked wrong, but it was right.
Yes. We cut the timber and the timber was perfect.
Yeah.
So don't go by a test against the blade itself. Always do a cut.
Yep.
The table's on the right way for me. These little things here are the last things that lock them in place, and you're meant to put it down. So this spacer stays. And then that's perfectly locked in.
Cannot move. I move it up a bit.
Do you?
So your saw's more or less under the middle of it.
Okay.
But if you have it too far, you can't see your cut here if you're following a line.
See on the handle, we've got the power locked on, but we don't have the power plugged in anywhere while we're working on it.
There is it up at its maximum, and you see you're touching your saw, so you've got to come back a bit. If you're doing accurate work, don't just rely on the scale on the bench top. Set it as close as you can, cut a scrap of wood and measure your cut to see that you've got the right distance. Normally we work in millimetres these days, get the right side of the ruler. Yes, so, and be careful if you're using a ruler with a little bit blank on the end. You don't just measure at the end, but are measuring from 0.
Yep. Okay. And that's how we knew exactly where to set the fence for a cut down the middle.
That's right.
There was a little tip I wanted to tell people. I used it originally without this on, and I got excited. I had this great idea. I used my push stick, but I forgot the basic rule is always use this because it helps push the wood out the other side.
You need the splitter to keep it.
It's a splitter.
Yeah. See, once it's cut, see, look how this warped. Look at that.
Yep.
Well, sometimes they tend to come together and they'll jam your saw blade.
And not just that, what it did to me was it actually spat it out backwards this way,
Yep.
all the way out, and because I'd let go on the push stick, it was only part way through. It had cut at the front, but it hadn't gone past the blade, and the blade flicked it out, and I was standing right in front of it, even though I knew I shouldn't. I'd seen it happen at the high school. They'd shown me where this piece of wood went flying. It went nearly as far as our bin there, and hit a cardboard sheet they had up in front of their glass windows. So I learnt never to put this in a position where it'll be in front of my windows. But, yeah.
Or in line with your stomach.
Yes, exactly.
So stand to the side, use a push stick of wood, not plastic.
Yep.
I was short of a push stick when I got to the end of this.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Use that.
Oh, okay, very good. See how the angle of mine's going wrong?
Yep.
I think this is a bad design. It doesn't have an extra brace. Like, it's got this brace on this side, but it needs one from the centre down to the bottom there.
Yep.
And that's an adjustment Adam and
Now,
I have always been going to make.
You know what? That's at the wrong end.
What do you mean?
You've got a brace that way. That's not going to move. That brace should be there.
But there's no bolt holder to put it there.
Well,
And that's the problem. That's how it came.
that's how it came. Right.
So maybe someone's... I always thought yours was different to mine because yours never does that.
No.
Oh, and Ian's just shown me it's got wheels on it you're meant to be able to wheel it with. I've never used those before. Don't worry.